Better up.
Rob and Chris, they're on the air. Yankees, Mets, they're everywhere. From the Bronx to Queens, the diamond gleams. MLB talk, the ultimate team. MLB is the place to be. Rob and Chris with the pitch you'll see. Swinging stacks and stories fly. Baseball talk that's amplified.
And welcome to a new episode of NY MLB Talk with your host Rob and Chris as we cover the Mets, Yankees, and all of Major League Baseball. And if you're on YouTube right now, hit that sub button. We'd really appreciate it. And if you also want to follow us on TikTok, on Twitter, we're at NY MLB Talk. Rob is at R Maraska, myself at CP7NY. So, Rob, Mets fans finally got their big change that they wanted. They got the big firing of Mendoza. Let's hear it. What are your thoughts?
Oh, the Mets fired their manager today because I would have never known it because they lost again tonight. But yeah, a little too late. The season is done. I don't care what anybody says. Today, David Stearns gave his press conference. We all know what it was going to be, the same blah, blah, blah. And we're still focused on this season. What are you focused on? It's over. It's done. Okay? That's it. So, yeah, fine, a little too late. And first off, I just want to say, you can't blame Mendy for this team. But he's a manager. There's got to be a scapegoat. And he made a lot of questionable moves this season. This season has just been a total mess. His handling of the bullpen and the pitching staff wasn't the greatest. But no one could have won with this team, Chris. What do you think about that? No one could have.
No, I totally agree. This roster, and listen, we've been talking about this roster since February and March, right? When the moves were made. We could go down the list, right? Letting Alonso walk. Let's start with that. That's a simple one. Letting Pete Alonso, who's I don't want to say franchise icon because that's pushing him up high, but that's where he was headed.
Yes, he was.
Just breaks the home run record. He's probably your most popular player on the team. The guy plays every single day, and you let him walk out the door for nothing? I just don't get it. And if I get it. Stearns is a small market guy and he likes to make those small market moves. But you know what? This is the big leagues now. Now you're in New York, right? You got the second highest payroll in baseball, right? Cohen saying, here's an empty checkbook. Let's get, let's build this team. I want a World Series. And you let one of your best players walk out the door for nothing? Like, I just don't get that. If you want to play hardball with him, say, you know what, Pete? If you think you're worth more than what we're offering you, then go out there and get your best offer and then come back to us, and then we'll match it if you want to stay here. If you want to do that, that's fine, right? You don't want to overspend. You don't want to overpay for the guy. Fine. But you let him walk out the door for nothing. For nothing. And this is like one of their best players. It just doesn't make sense. A guy you drafted and built up, and you just let him walk out the door? And then you trade Nimmo for Simeon, who is done. That guy is done.
Done.
This is I get it. Former MVP, former Gold Glove winner. Yeah, he's not that guy anymore. He's nowhere near that guy anymore. And you traded away Nimmo, another guy, plays every day, plays hard. Guy runs to first when he gets walked. When we talk about guys that hustling down to first, this guy is hustling all the time. He's a great leader for the team, and you trade him, to save a couple of years on the bad contract? Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares? Just these moves. And then you replace Alonso with Jorge Polanco, who's never played first base. And he's an often injured guy. So guess what you got? You got a guy who's been out for most of the season. Good job there, So to me, the roster, this is just a few that we've been talking about since the very beginning. So it's just awful. Absolutely awful the way this guy's built his roster. And you know what? Yeah, Mendoza's going to take the fall. We get it. And, everybody's been asking for his firing. And yeah, okay, whatever. Now you got it. You think Andy Green, who's going to replace him, you really think he's going to make that much of a difference?
No.
No, of course
He's
not.
not. No, Chris,
The greatest manager ain't going to make the difference on this
No.
team.
Let me just get to this Alonso thing for another. I mean, this is all we've been talking about since it happened. That was the stupidest move he made. Out of all his stupid moves, that was stupid. Because first of all, like you said, he just broke the Mets home run record. Okay, sometimes you have to overpay. Right? Sometimes you have to bite the bullet and you have to overpay. And Alonso is someone who they should have done that. I don't want to hear about his defense and his play at first base because it did get better through the years.
He's not horrible.
The fans love him. You want to fill Citi Field and you get rid of he's probably your most popular player. Okay, he's more popular than Lindor and Soto. Okay, Alonso, because he was homegrown, he was the most popular Met. You don't even offer the guy. All right, so he turned down your offer a couple of years ago. Wow. You know what? Big deal. And yes, Dan, we agree with you, but that's not gonna happen right now. Well, you never know. But with Alonso, you don't let your most popular, don't you learn from history? You don't let your most popular player go for nothing. I don't care if you have to eat some of that contract. Look at all the money that they've wasted, all right, already on below. And then you're right. Who do you replace him with? Polanco, the guy who played one inning at first base and he's always hurt.
And he mentioned right, that they wanted to improve run prevention. And what'd you do? You brought in a guy who's never played first base, and then you signed Bo Bichette, who's not been a great shortstop of late, and you move him over to third, another position, a guy who's never played before.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And this guy's supposed to be this great GM, smarter than everybody, like Nico's saying, he's the smartest guy in the room. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, right? I think Stearns thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, but he definitely is not.
And Andy Green, I mean, he's only going to be the interim manager. That was said today.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's not going to change anything. He managed the Padres from 2016 till, midway through 2019. He was 274 and 366. He wants to go back in the front office. He said he loves working in the front office because he gets to go home at night and take his daughter to Broadway shows. Like last night, he was at a Broadway show when they called him to tell him he's going to be manager. So he's not in for the long haul. We have a couple of candidates. I'm going to focus on two. Pujols, okay? He did manage in the WBC, right? Did a pretty good job.
Yep.
And with the DR, and he's friends with Soto. He's close with Soto. Like, that shouldn't matter what one player, even though he's your highest paid player, that shouldn't matter. But, I would be for giving him a shot. Him or even Carlos Beltran, who was supposed to be the Mets manager a couple of years ago, but we know because of the Houston Astro cheating scandal, he got fired before he managed his first game. So I don't know. Pujols might be a good one. What do you think, Chris?
I think so. And you know what? I think if Cohen has any say in the matter, and I'm assuming he will because he's the owner, I think he's going to push for one of those guys to be manager. Yeah, Bill is saying Beltran too. I think so too, because you got to remember, most fans, and you were obviously the fan of the Mets here, you would rather see Carlos Beltran or Albert Pujols get it than somebody who Stearns handpicks, right? Whoever that might be. I don't know who he would handpick, but I would think it would be, you would feel a little bit better with a guy like Beltran or Pujols. Not even that they're proven managers yet, but just that Beltran has been, he's obviously, they're both Hall of Fame players. And like you said, Beltran was going to be hired as manager. So
Right.
this would be a good time to bring him in, or Pujols, like you said. He just managed the WBC, so he's got some, not much, but he's got a little bit of experience, and we know how much clout both of these guys would carry on
Right.
that team, right? Those players are going to look at them and go, "Whoa, look who's," you know what I mean? When these guys talk, we're going to listen, right? They're going to respect those guys. Not that Mendoza wasn't, but you know what? You're going to respect Albert Pujols. You're going to respect Carlos Beltran when they say something, because those guys have been there, done that, won championships, made it to the Hall of Fame, two of the greatest players that ever played.
Right.
So they're gonna, you know what I mean? So I could see that. And it's a splashy move that is gonna be good for the fans. I think the fans are
Right.
gonna love either one of those guys as manager.
And yeah, and I'm one Beltran, two Pujols. That's how I feel. And Nico, I really don't think that that Steve Cohen is going to sell the Mets right now. He's got too much going on in that part of Queens, right? With the casino going up and the rebuilding and the hotels and all that stuff. I don't think he's going to sell the Mets. I think he wants to have a monopoly on everything over there in Queens. So I don't think so. But this season is over. I don't care what Stern said in that press conference today. They're just going to go through the motions. Look, they lost tonight 2-1. They can't score. They still can't score runs. It's just a mess. Things, sell. That's what I said the other night. I forgot what show we were on. We've been on so many shows, but I say sell, Chris, because it's over. A couple of guys, you keep a couple of guys, but basically, I just need to see a cleansing of this team. And do we blow this thing up?
Absolutely.
Trade Lindor for young arms?
I don't know if I would trade Lindor, but I'm definitely blowing it up. I'm definitely getting.
Yeah.
Listen, Bichette. There was already reports, right? We seen a couple of weeks ago that he is going to opt out after this year. If he is going to opt out for sure, I would definitely trade him. If he's not going to opt out, if he's the guy you want to be a part of this team, then you keep him. But to be honest, I would trade him too. You're paying $40 million for this guy. No, I don't think he's worth that much.
No,
so,
not
what?
Now.
Trade him, get a couple of decent prospects and not guys that are in like single A. Like get guys that are double A, triple A players that are ready to produce hopefully next season. Because you know what? You don't want to rebuild another season, right? Because now think about it too. Like you signed Juan Soto, right? To the huge contract. You had to outbid everybody. You had to outbid the Yankees. You had to win them. Great. But you know what? You just wasted 2 years of his prime.
That's what I said.
Wasted him. And you know what? You might have wasted 3 because next year, is this team really going to, well, let's forget about because we don't know what's going to happen next year. But
exactly.
What if there is a season, right? You might be wasting another season of his because how is this team going to just turn around and be a playoff team in 1 year? I don't know. I don't think they have it in them.
No, Chris, I want to go back real quick. I know what I want to say about Alonso. And how did it sound the other night when the crowd at Citi Field is yelling out, P. Alonso,
oh.
right, David Stearns? What? That was, what? That was the stupidest mistake he could have made. And it just still pisses me off that how could you get rid of the team's all-time home run leader for no one? Now they don't have a first baseman, okay?
Right.
Vientos. I'm tired of watching Vientos play first base. I want a first baseman. All right, and I know we got someone looming in the minors, but it's not guaranteed, okay?
No,
it's not guaranteed. Yeah. Bill, you're right. It's a joke, and I'm sure even Puppet Bill has more brains than Stearns and thinks it was a joke also. So it was loud, and I was happy to hear them yell Pete Alonso. And I hope David Stearns at least got some kind of message because when he gives his press conference, Chris, he looks clueless to me. Like he thinks he's the smartest man in the room. I think he's the only man in the room who doesn't know what the hell is going on in New York.
And you know what? I put a lot of this blame not just on Stearns, but you got to put it on Cohen as well.
Right.
Because you said it too, right? When Soto was a free agent, he wanted Soto, right? That was Cohen. This was not Stearns doing that, making all that, bigger offer with all the extra bonuses. That was Cohen saying, listen, I want this guy. I'm going to do whatever I have to sign this guy. I don't care what my GM says. I'm going to sign this guy, right? Okay.
Right.
That's what situation came up with Alonso, right? Stearns did not want to sign him. So you know what? Cohen should have said, no. He's one of our guys. We drafted this guy. He's one of our most popular players. We sell a gazillion jerseys because of him. So you know what? Sign this guy. That's it. Make it happen. He could have stepped in and did that, right? We've seen that with the Yankees with Aaron Judge, right? Steinbrenner made the call. Say what you want about Hal Steinbrenner, but he made that call to Judge and says, what do I have to do to get you to stay as a Yankee? He told him, okay, done. And it's done. You don't think if Cohen calls up Pete Alonso and goes, all right, what do you want? We'll finish this right now and we'll sign him right now. And he didn't do that. So you know what? This is also on Cohen.
That's right. It is. And look who's out there. Eric Katz getting his shots in at the Mets.
Yeah, Andy Green, I think in 4 years, he's got a 4-something winning percentage with the Padres. So, yeah, that's not great. But like you said, it's an interim. He's basically a lame duck. He basically here just to get you through the season, because I think that signing, being named as manager, it just kind of shows you what Stearns' plans is for this, for this upcoming trade deadline, right? Because we've seen it already. I'm not sure about hiring a superstar as the next manager because they were great players. I get big names. I understand that.
Yeah,
but who's going to be out there? That's going to be the question. Who's going to be a manager that you want to bring in?
Yeah, and Eric, we know he did lose. He lost the clubhouse, and he said it. He doesn't want to manage. He's just going to finish out the year. The Mets didn't want to name a permanent replacement right now, but it's probably, and Cliff, I know what you're saying, Cliff, but if it's Pujols, he looked pretty good in WBC, and Beltran, he almost had his chance, so I'm for giving him a chance, but I do not want, and this is another one. Yes, Eric, that's right. Alex Cora is on my list, definitely, and Rob Thompson.
Cora is also very close with the Phillies GM.
Yeah, you're right.
Dombrowski, right? So you got to look at that too, and you also got to look at these guys. Whether it's Cora, Rob Thompson, do they really want to come here? Because they know it's going to be a rough season next season, right? It may not be, almost had the Padres exactly. So his name is being out there, like his name is being interviewed. He's being interviewed now, so he's going to get a job. Will it be with the Mets or with someone else? I think he's going to get a job somewhere.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, like Eric said, he almost had the Padres job. Could it be possible to?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll be honest. I think Mattingly's done after this year. I just have a feeling.
So do you think he's done if the Phillies go long in the postseason and maybe, somehow knock the Dodgers out in the NCLS?
Yeah, I think that's the only chance you'll see him come back with the Phillies. But there was talk about Dombrowski trying. Well, he did try to get Cora before he named Mattingly as the manager there. So, it's going to be interesting. I don't know.
And the other night we were on another show, and Eric Katz did say, Stearns wasn't the main reason why Milwaukee was so great and has been so great. And I could see that.
It shows. Look at this year. Look at the trades they've made too. They brought in Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison didn't make it. He didn't work in the Giants. He was a prospect there, a very highly touted prospect there. Didn't make it there. He got traded to Boston. Didn't make it there. The Brewers traded for him, and now he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Right. So
yeah,
wasn't Stearns.
And real quick, did you see what Miz did tonight, Chris?
Yeah.
he broke his own major league record of he hit 105.5 miles per hour. That's just friggin' amazing.
Yeah, that guy is just unreal. And the thing is with him, even with Cam Schlittler, when you see him pitch, like they pitch with like no effort. Like it doesn't look like it's coming 104, 105, whatever the numbers are, but they're just amazing right now. Yeah, man, of course. Yeah, he's scapegoated. Absolutely.
Yeah, and yes, Jeremy Hefner, that's another stupid move that the Mets made. They got a clean house. They need a whole new coaching staff also.
Hey, you could say Rob Thompson was scapegoated too, but it was a move that the Phillies had to make at that point, right?
And
just like when Thompson was named manager, right? It was just when they got rid of Girardi. Like that was just a move that had to happen. What about Girardi? What would you think of Girardi as manager?
Yeah, he's on that list of 10, but not before Cora, not before Beltran, not before Pujols or Thompson. Because I don't know. He didn't have any luck in Philadelphia. I think he lost the locker room, right? The clubhouse in Philadelphia. But I mean, he's on that list he's definitely on that list of 10. Yeah, that's another good point too. Thompson also lost the clubhouse. They needed a change.
Yeah.
And
I think Castellanos, he probably had that attitude where, hey, you know what? I got a guaranteed contract. They're not going to cut me, even though they eventually did because he was just so awful. But he probably figured, hey, no one's going to cut me. So I got nobody, like he felt like he probably had, whatever, that he could do whatever the hell he wants. But obviously it caught up to him because he's just horrible. You can't play him in the field. He can't hit. He's just garbage right now.
Yeah, and that is true, either you like him or not.
Absolutely.
Now, Andy Green is the 10th former Mets player to manage the team, 11 if you include Beltran, but he never got a chance to, right? So check out this list of Mets players. And he only played 4 games for the Mets, and he had 1 hit. So, if you even want to include him as a Met. But I have a little list real quick. Here's a list of Mets players who have managed the Mets. Gil Hodges, of course, Yogi Berra, Roy McMillan, Joe Torre, Mike Cubbage, Bud Harrelson, Dallas Green, Bobby V, and Willie Randolph. And Willie Randolph is a sore spot because the way the Wilpons let Willie Randolph go was also disgusting, Chris.
Yeah, that was awful. That was absolutely awful.
And they used him as a scapegoat too, because I liked Willie as manager of the Mets. I'm going to tell you,
he's definitely one of the good guys out there, and he's a great coach too. But about to be treated like, that's because that's what he is. That's all he is. He's only subbing for whoever they end up hiring next season, and this is just basically, I think he's a perfect example of what they're basically showing you what their plans are. Like they are probably going to blow this team up. I don't know if Lindor is going to be one of them, but a lot of guys are going to be traded.
Yeah, and Cliff, there's no way Keith is going to manage a team.
No,
Keith barely, the minute the game's
he barely
over,
wants to get into the booth.
Yeah, he there's no way he would ever manage the Mets.
I think he'd be a great manager. So Cliff, I'm with you. I think he'd be a great manager. Keith Hernandez.
But, yeah, he would, but I think he's past that.
And he's got the bad back too. I don't see him doing all that traveling and
he doesn't want all that. He doesn't want to have to deal with all that stuff. Really, press conferences after every game and before and all that stuff. No, I don't think so. Yeah, Willie didn't deserve that. There's no way he did deserve.
At least Torre, at least it was at the end of the season. You know what I mean? Right. At least it was during the offseason. They didn't fire him. After a victory in what you guys, I think you guys won. You beat the Angels that night.
Yeah.
Then, right after the game, they fired him. I mean, that made no sense.
Yeah, Keith has cut down his workload. I think it's like 99 games. I think, or 98 games.
Yeah, he's in his he's in his semi-retirement age right now.
So,
Time of his
so
life.
they after the Mets made those 6 errors the other night, David Stearns did post a picture of his future Mets infield. Chris, do you have that? Do you have
Oh,
who
yes.
he's going to try to get?
I think that's the current infield.
Yeah, it is the current infield. But meaning that they'd probably do better than this infield. That was horrendous.
Yeah.
The other night against the Cubs. Okay, 6. I mean, what's going on? 6 errors, and the last time they did that, Chris, was 1962, the first year, the year of what used to be the worst team in baseball. Thank you, Chicago White Sox. But that's what they played like. That's a great graphic.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Mr. Met. We watched that before, Chris. He's talking about.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That's
Well, Steve Geltz was talking about that. Mr. Met was
that just shows you what is this organization doing? Like, this falls on upper management. This falls on, right, because the team has no, like, the manager or the players, they have no control over Mr. Met or what he does. That's more upper management. That's more like, what are you doing here? Like, what is going on? There is definitely a lack of leadership. We talked about it on the team, right? And Cohen famously said, while I'm the owner of this team, there will be no captains on this team. We will not name any captains. And I'm still saying that's not a good thing to do. Like, even if it's just for the fans, right? Even if it's just throwing something out to the fans, it should be done. It's simple as that. You need leaders in the clubhouse. And I know Mickey Callaway, he goes, you don't really need you need guys in the clubhouse to be captains. You need them all to be leaders. And I get that. But the problem is this team doesn't have any leaders. Nobody is stepping up to the plate to be a leader. And that's that's one of the many things that's missing on this team. This team needs a leader. And right now they just don't have it. And now they really don't have it. And now you see the team is just a complete mess. And now you got Mr. Met dancing behind reporters while they're announcing, the manager is fired and we're going into a free fall here. And we got Mr. Met dancing. I mean, it's just a mess. I think Cohen, I know Stearns talked today, but Cohen has to step up and say something. He just has to.
Yeah, and you know what? It's just not only that, Mr. It's all this other BS that I've been complaining about. The cheerleaders. I don't want to see cheerleaders in baseball on the Mets dugout with pom-poms or when the players come running out on the field, okay? I don't want to see when the Mets are down, 8-1 and they hit a home run and they start there it is. And then they they shut the lights off. They turn the lights on. The apple's going off. I don't want to see, for the 100th time, you must be sick of hearing me say this, I don't want to hear the crowd singing My Girl when Lindor goes up when the Mets suck. I don't want to see that. All right, you paid your money. You want to have fun. I get that. I understand. But I want to see good baseball. To me, that's what the fun is. It's not all this other nonsense that's going on. I guess I'm just too old school. And Joe Dell says, preach on. But do you know what I mean? You don't see.
I'm sure a lot of people agree with you, Rob.
Because you don't see the Yankees with cheerleaders at Yankee Stadium. God. I mean, come on, right? Look what happened opening day on Netflix when they had to run through a subway, come out of a subway, and the Giants came off of a trolley car. How much did you hate that, Chris?
I get that they're trying to, make this bigger and all that. I get that, but that's just not baseball. Baseball is a simple game. It's always been that way. It's never been this big flashy thing like football is a lot of times and like basketball is. It's just not, that's just not baseball.
You're right.
They're trying to turn it into something it's not, and it's just not good.
And Frank the Tank, yes. And the best thing is, Eric, we're probably the only show that we had Frank the Tank on and he was calm.
Right.
And he talked, he was calm and we had a nice conversation and we were waiting for him to explode and he didn't explode. That's because it was last year before June when the Mets were winning. But still, now you're right. He is going crazy right now. You see his head, Chris, right? It looks like he's going to explode.
Yeah. No, I do.
Yes, that too. The Spider-Man mask.
Yeah, that's so stupid. I mean, after a while, it's like, God, and this goes back to leadership. That to me that shows you the lack of leadership on a team, right?
Right.
You're celebrating, you're down 10-2 or something like that, and you're celebrating, you just hit a home run. Like, come on. It's read the room, as some people would say, right? Like, come on.
This team is the bad news bears. Let me tell you, $329 million payroll for what? For the season to be over in June. Okay? Listen, I don't want to hear about the wild card because they're already now what is it, like 9 games out of a wild card? It's just great. We need teeth back in the dugout. Or do you mean Keith? Yeah. There it is. I was going to say.
Yeah, we kind of went through that with Keith. Yeah. He's done as a.
Yeah, it's definitely not happening. But, some of these moves, you're right. You forgot to mention Robert Jr., right? Another one. Guy. All right. And, for the first 2 weeks, we're like, because I think game 2, he hit the game-winning home run or whatever. We're like, all right, well, maybe he's going to be healthy. Yeah, right. We haven't seen him. So that was another stupid move. It was just BS. He wanted to break up the team. He thought he was going to put his own footprint on this team. Instead, he just stepped on its neck and broke this team because it's horrible. And you're right. I blame Cohen too, because we thought, all right, Cohen's buying the team. We don't have to go through this Wilpon crap anymore, right? But I think I agree with what Eric said before. I don't think the Wilpons would have let Pete Alonso go.
No way.
No
way.
All right? I don't think Jeff Wilpon would have let Pete Alonso go. I don't. So
I don't think they would have signed Soto. I don't think they would have outbidded the Yankees and gave him all that extra stuff. I don't think that would happen with him, but they definitely would not have let Alonso walk out because they know. Right. They know Alonso is very popular here. He's he's been very good for you guys. It's been great for you guys, right? Like they know what they're getting with Alonso, and they're not going to let that walk out the door. They know how many jerseys are sold. They know when it comes up on their computer on the reports, it'll say, "Oh, Alonso jerseys, 1,500 this week," or whatever the number is, right? They know that. And that's why I don't understand it. Why you don't bring a guy back like that? It makes no sense.
It's a stupid move. And where are we getting starting pitching? We don't even know if there's going to be what's going to go on next season anyway, Bill. And this is another good. Eric Katz, you're making great points tonight. I'll tell you, believing one good year of Sean Manaea was worth a 3-year, $75 million extension. You're right. And it's basically was the playoff run in 2024 that did it. And that's a big disaster. He's in the bullpen. He's starting. That's a bad contract. Another one. Yes, the Wilpons did right by David Wright, and he stayed a Met for his whole career. And that's something that should have happened with Alonso. I'm kind of the Wilpons. Okay,
you saw a World Series with them.
You saw 2 of them. No, you saw 3. They won in '86, so you saw 3 of them with the Wilpons. Yeah, I know, and that's another one. I don't know what went on with Peralta. What's going on with Peralta, Chris? That's the one move that I thought was good. Okay, bringing in Peralta.
I praised it. I said, there you go. You got your solid starter that you needed, and he's a guy. That's another guy. Trade him. I think that's a guy that's got to get traded.
I don't ever want to talk about Frankie Montas again on this show.
We've both been burned by Frankie Montas, so I don't think either one of us wants to talk about that guy.
That's right. Remember that, Eric. The Yankees got burnt by him.
He's
also.
awful.
But
Awful.
and real quick, how about former Met Craig Kimbrell, right? What did he do the other night with the Rays that he got DFA'd? The Rays had a combined no-hitter going, Chris, and they call him in. He walks, so there he walks the first batter, which is not unusual for him now. Then he gives up a 2-run homer, and there goes the no-hitter, even though the Rays won 13-2. But that was another Mets move, bringing Kimbrell in for this season. All right, let's take a rest for a second about the Mets. And the Mets, but the Mets, wait a second, real quick. The Mets bullpen's been all right. I'm going to tell you that Weaver and
the
Williams
hasn't been bad.
And they've been pretty good. Williams and Weaver especially, man. He's been lights out lately, so I can't complain
what was he,
about
20-something
him.
innings straight he's got now with no runs.
21,
he's been really good.
He has. But anyway, all right, let's go with the Yankees real quick. What's going on with the Yankees and Boston, Chris?
Yeah, not good. They've lost 2 straight, played horrible in the field, not hitting. So, yeah, multiple teams in recent years. Yeah, he's at the end of his career, you know. It's sad because the guy's still pumping like 96 on his fastball. So he's not like he's lost that much, but I think it goes back to control, right? The guy just
control. Right.
It's sad, but you know, he's at the end. So hopefully he's done now, but we'll see. But yeah, with the Yankees, just bad baseball these last 2 nights. I was expecting a little bit better, especially after taking 2 out of 3 against Detroit, beating Skubal. I thought, this is going to be great. Beating Casey Mize as well. You got, 2 really good wins in Detroit. And then you go into Boston playing not a good team. They're just not a good team. Starting to win again, only 1 game out tonight. Yeah, they are. They're back. Tampa's going to be around the whole season. I don't think they're going to, fade at all. Yeah, he's horrible. Duvall has been horrendous.
Right.
That goes back to a guy that just does not know how to pitch. He knows how to throw, but he just doesn't know how to pitch. Right? The guy can throw 100, like you said, but he just does not know how to pitch. And until he learns that, he's going to be what he is, right? So, the team right now not playing well defensively, seeing errors in the outfield, the infield. They might be. I don't know if they're more dysfunctional, but they're just not a good team. They're not a good team, and their best pitcher's out, Crochet, one of their best hitters, Roman Anthony, who they were really betting on big time this year to break out. He got hurt. They can't figure out how to get him back on the field, whatever's bothering him with the hand, the wrist. So he's nowhere near returning, unfortunately for them and for me, because he's on my fantasy team. But anyway, hopefully now the Yankees could rebound and win these next 2 games. That's going to be big. You can't walk out of Boston losing 3 out of 4 or getting swept against this team that's just not a good team.
No, you can't. And what happened tonight? There was the bench is cleared tonight.
Yeah, it was something with Contreras. He's, what was Wally Green Monster wasn't dancing in front of everyone else. Yeah, exactly. You know what? That was with Contreras. That's just Contreras, how he is. I get it. He's an instigator or whatever you want to call him. He is what he is. He's a great hitter, yes. But he's trying to poke the bear, right? He's trying to poke the bear, and he got a little bit of reaction from the Yankees, and that's fine. But you know what? At the end of the day, the Yankees lost, and that's the part that sucks, is that they lost, and they have to win these next 2 games. You can't leave Boston losing 4 straight or losing 3 out of 4 against these guys, especially after last year. Last year they went 4-9 against them. They can't do that again this year. That was my big thing. They have to be better against their own division. And more angry, yeah, probably. But they already got 4 wins against them, so they already matched their win total against Boston from last season. But they got to do better. These next 2 games they have to do. They wasted Schlittler Thursday night. Tonight, Will Warren just didn't have it, but their bats were just – they got no hit through the first 5 innings.
Right.
So got it. They got to do better.
Chris, do you see the Yankees and Mets making a possible deal with the Mets fire sale this trade deadline? Even though David Stern says, I'm not even thinking about the trade deadline.
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
Okay. Then why? Okay, we forgot to go back to the Mets real quick.
Yes, they did beat them when it mattered in the playoffs, but if they beat them during the regular season, they wouldn't have to beat them in that wild card. Right. They would have been sitting there waiting, and Toronto would have faced them in the wild card. If they
and it would have been a whole different.
One more game. That's all they needed was one more game all season, and they would have won the division on their own.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. We seen him last year not be good. He's pitching great for you guys, but he's also listen. What innings is this guy pitching right now? Right? He's not exactly pitching, tough innings for the Mets.
Well, he's pitching. No, he's pitching the 8th inning. He's set up.
Yeah, but he's still
he's blown away.
Low leverage games here. We're not talking, they're not battling for first place against the Braves or anything, So listen, we definitely have to add an arm though for the bullpen. The bullpen definitely needs help.
Yeah, Devin Williams.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was a problem. Obviously, Devin Williams was a big problem for the Yankees. That's the reason why they traded for Bednar late last season, right? That was the reason why they brought Bednar in, because Williams was he just couldn't do it in New York. I mean, and I go back to what Rob said. Maybe Alonso broke him, right? I mean, he's doing a little better this year, but maybe he broke him. I don't know.
Now the Mets, talking about the trade deadline real quick, even though Stern said that, it looks like the fire sale has begun because the Mets traded David Peterson to the Cubs during the Cubs
got something
period.
Decent, right? They got like the Cubs' 13th best prospect or something.
Yeah, he's pretty good hitter. I don't know how his defense is. They were saying maybe a little shaky, but the kid could hit. So,
and what is he in Double-A?
Yeah, Cole Mathis, right? Cole Mathis, and he's I think so, Chris. But get some young players. They're gonna have to do that.
Get something. Listen, you're getting something for Peterson, who has been horrendous this year, right? The guy's got a 6 ERA.
Yeah, another one. Like what happened to him? I just don't get it. It's like the whole team collapsed, and I think he's going to be good for Peterson. A fresh start. He's at least with a team now that has a chance to win. So it's pretty good. But we talked about this. It must be really weird getting traded while you're at home getting traded to the team that you're playing, Chris, right?
Yes, that's got to be a weird thing. We've seen it with the Yankees, with Caballero, with Tampa. I mean, they were playing in the Bronx when he got traded in the middle of a game. So that was weird. I don't know how players can react to that. Getting traded in the middle of a game or after the game, or showing up. Oh yeah, by the way, you got traded today to the team that we're playing. So just hang out with them, go to their locker room and, whatever. So it's got to be strange, but I think it was good, for the Mets to get something for Peterson, but that goes back to, right. Let's go back to the roster construction for the Mets. Look who they were counting on as their starters, right?
Wait, Chris, wait a second. What did you call it? A roster what? Construction. I call it a roster destruction.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It wasn't a great construction, but think about the rotation. Think about who you're counting on, right, to be in your rotation. David Peterson, unproven. Okay, yeah. Last year he was really good.
Yeah.
For a half. That's okay. So you're expecting him to be great now after a half a season of being good. Senga. The guy can't stay healthy, and now when he's healthy, you want him to be back on the IL because he can't pitch.
You want him to be the ghost. Never mind the ghost pitch.
I mean, Holmes got hurt. You can't do nothing about it, and he's been really solid for you guys. He's been really good, I should say. Nolan McLean, I don't know what's wrong with him. I expected so much more out of that guy. I have no idea what happened to him.
I don't know.
That's mind-boggling to me because he's got great stuff. And Peralta, like you mentioned before, I mean, Peralta should be better than what he is. I don't get this.
And Mania too. Remember, like Eric said before, typed in, Mania, another one. Clay Holmes is real. That was unfortunate because he was really, what a starter he became, Chris. Right? Imagine if that would have happened when he was with the Yankees.
Oh, that would have been great. We got like that first half of, what was it, 2024 of Holmes. He was unhittable as the closer, and then he just completely collapsed. So whatever happened. But you know what? I'm happy for the guy. I'm happy for him that he's turned into a great starter with you guys. I think it's awesome. But yeah, the Mets got a lot of work to do in front of them.
Sure do.
A lot of work, and that's why I don't think it's going to be. I really don't think it's going to be an overnight thing. I don't think it's going to be one season, especially with God knows what's going to happen with the CBA. We'll get into that in a few minutes, but like, who knows what the Mets are going to look like after this year? Because there's going to be a fire. They're going to trade guys away. For Stearns to say he's not thinking about the trade deadline, that would be every GM right now is thinking about the trade deadline. So for him to say that, he's obviously lying.
Right.
Like, he should be thinking about the trade deadline. He should be thinking about, okay, how am I going to get this team better for next season or this season, whatever you want to say. But he's definitely thinking about the trade deadline. He has to be. If he's not,
he has to. Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, no, he has to be. Real quick, I wanted to say, if you guys haven't seen the last couple of shows of ours, definitely check it out, because last Friday night we had former Kansas City Royal and World Series 1985 World Series champion Greg Pryor on. He was so much fun, Chris. We had a great time with him. And on Monday, we had Vernon Wells II. That's Vernon Wells of the Toronto Blue Jays and the Yankees' father. He's an amazing artist, and that was another fun show, Chris.
Yeah, he had great stories to tell us, just about his career in the art world, doing art for
MLB.
For MLB, for the baseball cards, and then just talking about with Vernon about his son, and all that. It was really great. Yeah, he was a great player. He really was. He had some great years with Toronto, with the Angels. Unfortunately, when he got to the Yankees, he was at the end of his career, but yeah, he was really good with Toronto and the Angels.
Yeah, so check those shows out. They were a lot of fun. And we had the week before, we had John D'Acquisto, Eddie Lynch, and Pete Falcone on. That's another fun show. We had all three of those guys on. They told great stories. Check them out. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. All right, Chris, you want to get into what may happen at the end of, I guess it's December 2nd?
Yeah, with the CBA. I mean, that's going to be interesting. This couple of days ago, the league put out another thing, a couple of things that they're proposing. They're kind of interesting, I have to say. I mean, some I like, some I don't like. Number one, a max contract length of 5 years for free agent players switching teams. We know the union is going to be totally against that, right?
Never going to happen.
They also said 6 years for teams to retain their own players. So you want to retain your own player, it's a max of 6 years. This is getting to be like in the NBA realm, right? That's what they're going for. This one, I think they'll love. I don't know if they'll like this either. No deferred contracts. I don't know if players really like this, or if the owners like this more. I'm really not sure. And no qualifying offers. That's something that the players want, without a doubt. They don't want the qualifying offers.
Yeah.
Because then, you're kind of locked into it. And also teams are not going to want to sign a guy because they don't want to give up a draft pick to sign him. So I like that. And I think the players will definitely want that. And then they proposed 5 years to free agency for players 30 or older. Players, I think, would like that too. But they probably would want 5 years no matter what. whether it's 30 years or even younger. I don't know. So that to me sounds pretty good. The one thing we're going to see is if this is an extended work stoppage, it's not going to look good for the players. It's definitely not going to look good for the players because they're going to look like, because they're going to get paid no matter what, right? Whatever it ends up being, they're still going to get their money. They're still going to get paid, right? So they're going to look like the people that are more greedier than the owners. They're going to try to make it look like the owners are the greedy ones. But I'm sorry, the players are not going to look good at this because the owners are going to say, look, it works. It works in the NBA, right? They have a cap. The NFL has a cap. The NHL has a cap. It works great there. Nobody's outside MSG right now with a cup looking for cash, right? No player is out there looking for money. They're not asking for money. They're all doing well. So salary caps must be working pretty good, right? So I think at the end of the day, but unfortunately, I think you've been saying it too, and a lot of other people, that it's going to be a long work stoppage. I really hope not, man, because we've been saying it too. Like, they got so much momentum right now. The league is in a good spot. They're getting great attendance. The ratings are good. They're making a ton of money. Like, don't mess this up.
They're going to mess it up. They're going to, and that's right. Justice Department went after the union. But they are going to mess it up. All right. They look how much they built it up again. Like we said, last year's postseason, most watched postseason since 2017. And they're going to mess it up. And this time there's no McGuire and Sosa to bring it back.
Yeah. That's the thing. I don't know who's going to be the savior. If they do lose games and all that, who's going to be the savior, right? They got that home run chase. They got, remember, Cal Ripken breaking the consecutive. Like, there's no guy. Like, I don't think, like, let's think of the best players, right? Ohtani. Is Ohtani going to be the savior of Major League Baseball? I really don't know.
I don't know. And Eric doesn't think it's going to be the whole year. I don't think it's going to be the whole year.
Not the whole season. Maybe,
but it's going to be a lot.
I could definitely see it. Even with McGuire, Sosa, it took a while. Yeah, but you know what? That season, though, that season brought the fans back. They brought the interest back.
Yeah,
and you know what? Yeah, it took them a while, but you know what? It got them back because every day we were checking the box scores, right? Okay. Oh, did Sosa hit one? Oh, Sosa hit two. Oh, McGuire hit one. Every day, everybody was checking those box scores. They were watching Sports Center for the highlights. So
it brought kids to the game. Okay. Yes. It got a generation of kids to love the game. And they're gonna screw it up. They're just
and that's where they're gonna lose it. Because these kids, there's so many other options for these kids to go to now. Right. And they have, they have the attention span of a bean. So if you lose them, you might lose them forever. These young guys. I don't know if a pitcher can save baseball because he only goes one every 5 days. I don't know if he's the guy that's going to do it.
Yeah.
When the money's I don't know. I could. It's got to be an everyday player because it's got to be something where fans are fixated on every day.
Every day.
Okay, what did he do today? What did that guy, like, whether it's Ohtani? Ohtani would be a good example because he does something every day. He pitches once every 5 days, and he's also hitting in between those starts. So
that's true. He's
just not right, but he doesn't pitch every day, so it's only once, and he's in Milwaukee.
And when is he gonna, when's he gonna blow his arm out? Because
that's the other thing.
Let's just look at the history, what's going on. When are we gonna hear that he needs Tommy John surgery? Let's hope we never hear that because it is amazing. 105 and a half, 105.5. That's amazing. But baseball, I don't know. It's gonna hurt baseball if it's long. People. All right. Well. Yeah. Maybe
a foreign guy. I don't know, but
Well, listen, if Fatani could, why not him? You
Yeah.
never know. But we'll have to see what happens, how long it's going to be. Like what's going to happen this off season. It's the contract ends the 2nd, right? So December 2nd.
December 2nd, yeah.
So, what's going to happen from the end of the World Series? Less than a month, really, because now the World Series ends in November. What's going to happen for that month? Are they going to go heavy with talks, or are we going to hear that they walked out of meetings? You're going to hear all of that crap.
And what's going to happen think about it, what's going to happen with free agency?
Yeah, that's another thing. That's what I'm talking about.
Our teams are going to be like, I don't know if they're going to go out there and sign. Not that it's not a great free agency, especially for bats.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about if Bo Bichette opts out, he might be the best hitter available.
Yeah.
Him and Jazz are going to be like the 2 top batters available, which is crazy, right? Yeah, and that's why I think Bo Bichette is probably going to opt out because there's no other options, right? He's going to be like the best option for a bat. So I can see him opting out. It's crazy. He's making a lot of money, but
especially he probably wants to get away from Citi Field as fast.
I don't want to get into that, but that's but that's also another reason.
And has this hurt his value too? Has this year hurt his value? Like, all right, maybe he's not worth that much money,
right? I mean, he's starting to hit now, right? I mean,
he's starting to hit now, but
I think he'll still end up, 290. Yeah. I think he'll still be there. I still think he's going to be that.
I think so too, but we will see. All right, Chris, could you put up that travel destination thing? I want to mention that real quick. All right, our friends at the South Florida Tribune has a new network called Destination Discoveries Media Network. They're going to do it's basically like a travel channel, Chris. They're gonna talk about travel, cruises, flying places, trips, and I'm gonna have something to do with that channel too because I love cruises and traveling. So we're asking people to go to Destination Discoveries Media Network and follow them on YouTube, subscribe to them on YouTube. And check out they already have some videos there, Chris, so they could check that out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I've already subscribed. Pretty cool if you're into that. Yeah, if you're into, vacations and if you want to check out a video of maybe a place that you haven't been to yet, that's pretty cool to check out.
And do you have the Ferry Hawks the first one? All right, this is a little thing we're going to do. Staten Island Ferry Hawks, 60 seconds with the Staten Island Ferry Hawks. It might be a little less, but they named former Met Wally Backman as their manager, Chris. And man, if Wally would have just held out a little longer, you never know.
Hey, you know what? If he gets a call now from the Mets, he'll still take it, right? Let's be honest. Course. I think he'd still take it. So, but yeah, I think it's cool, for Backman. We've all seen the videos on YouTube, right? We've seen him flip out a lot of times, and that's what fans want to see. I personally would love to see him back in the major leagues as a coach.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but listen, going to to the Staten Island Ferry Hawks is not a bad thing for him. He could showcase himself as a manager there. Just like, our friend Mickey Callaway's doing, right? In his independent, it's not going to hurt your chances of getting back into Major League Baseball. So I think it's a good deal.
Yeah, but I think Backman has mellow too. Yeah, so this weekend they're having the 86 inspired Hawk shirt, a Wally Backman shirt. Also, they're having an 80s night this weekend. Mazzilli's going to be there with Backman. You could get their autograph and I guess a photo or something. I'm not sure, but I know you could get something signed. Anyway, so that's going on. Chris, you have anything else before I announced our schedule for next week?
Listen, just for us, thank you for always watching.
Right.
We hit over 300 subscribers now on YouTube.
But TikTok,
so I just want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed. But if you TikTok, haven't, TikTok over 4,000 followers, right? So we're doing great. And all we could say is thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for following us. Thank you for subscribing to us. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the comments every time, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's here, it's everywhere. Facebook. We appreciate all the comments, and we appreciate you guys supporting us. We love it. If there's anybody out there that hasn't subscribed yet, hit that sub button on YouTube. We really appreciate it. The more, the better, right? And we're going to try to put out even more content if we can. I know it's hard because we put out a lot now. 2 days for our
We're all
show.
over
We
the
do our
place.
Clearing the Bases on Wednesdays, and we're, we guest on other shows. But thank you. I just want to say thank you to everybody.
Definitely. All right. So then Monday we're on at 3 p.m. I'm not sure about guests, but we do have guests coming up that I'm going to announce soon. Wednesday, we have Clearing the Bases again. Thursday at 10 p.m. we're going to be on. We're not going to have a Friday show because of the July 4th holiday. A lot of people are off on Friday and celebrating and stuff. So we're going to do the show Thursday night at 10 p.m. instead, Chris.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. So we'll see everybody Monday at 3 p.m. Have a great weekend, and thank you.